Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we started the recording. Everyone, remember this is a Kubernetes SIG project, so please follow the code of conduct. Um, Let me go ahead and share my screen so we can look at the agenda. Great. Looks like first up is Mesa. Mesa, we can't hear you, by the way, if you're talking. All right. Maybe the audio is wrong on my end. Can anyone hear Mesa, or is it just me?
No, I can't hear her either.
Okay, we'll come back to you if you're able to figure out audio, Mesa. Um, Next, let's go to Kai-san.
Yeah, hi. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, stop sharing. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Mm, yeah. Can you see my screen?
Now we can, yes.
Yeah. I think for this PR is I think it's also I think there are like two use case like in our side, and I have already deployed in our like the production environment. Yeah, I think the high level idea is that currently like a user doesn't have a way if they want to like submit a workload to multi-queue to a specific like the worker cluster. Yeah, and this PR like provides a way to do that. Yeah, and the main use case is that currently is that we will run a training. We will run a training job, and after several like the steps of training, we plan to run like the asynchronous like checkpoint evaluation. And at first is that we implement it inside the training framework. So it's launch another like the maybe like a ray test or actor to do that in the same ray cluster as the training. But currently is that I want to like delegate to a server that's like the checkpoint evaluation service, and we want to like the user just send the request, and we can create a ray job, and that ray job will like handle the whole life cycle of the checkpoint evaluation. Because I think the training and evaluation like they are evaluation training will not depends on evaluation. Evaluation is mainly for the observability, so it can be total fully like the asynchronous. Yeah, but the issue is that we want to like the schedule the rate job CR to the cluster where has the checkpoint for the data locality. Yeah, but currently there's no simple way to do that. Yeah, currently there are several ways to do that. The first one is the external dispatcher. I think multi-queue provides a way so that the user can implement its own like the external dispatcher to reconcile the workload and to like the and to patch the nominate like the workers inside the workload CR status. Yeah, but I think it is I actually implement about this. It's required maybe including like CRD is required like maybe tens of thousands of line of code. So since like the not a good way. And then the other way like I give it a try is to I add a node label for each cluster. For example, like a cluster one, I have a label called like a cluster equal to worker one, and then the other is cluster two equal to worker two. And I create like the some like a different like a resource flavor, something like that, to split a single queue like into two different way. Yeah, but it is also like complex And this is like the semantic I want. Yeah. And the other side is like I think there's a future work in the multi-queue code base is to do like a workload affinity. Is want to like co-locate maybe to provide something like the node affinity, something like that, to be able to schedule two workload in the same cluster or different cluster. Yeah, but I think for our case, this is not the true semantic. We don't care about the training. The evaluation workload doesn't care about the training workload. It's only care about the data locality. So the affinity doesn't like fit the use case right now. Yeah, and we also have some users that they use agent to submit like the data processing job to the cluster, and only the agent side know like which data is in which cluster. So like that's why like they also want to like be able to schedule specific workload to a specific work cluster. Yeah, and I think the API is like looks like this. Definitely like this is maybe something like need to be discussed. But basically, is that they can like specify this annotation um in their like the CR. Yeah, and it will like do some like find the intersection between the user provided like the annotation and the like multi-queue config. Yeah, so in this case, it's there are like a three work cluster in this multi-queue, and the user specify one of it. Yeah, and this is an example. Yeah, it's just user specify this one, and user can specify multiple one if they want to nominate multiple one. Yeah, so this is like something like we are currently using right now, and just like looking for like feedback and review. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for the presentation. I feel like that makes sense, but I don't know if anyone else on the call. Yeah, go ahead, Yuki.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this interesting use case. First of all, so I think it's very strange. I mean, so okay. For example, so we have cluster provider, cluster admins have uh, expensive cluster. For example, so on-demand cluster or B300 or whatever. And sometimes cluster admin want to provide the on-demand or expensive cluster only to specific users. In that case, if we support this allocation-based cluster selections, everyone can submit job with expensive cluster job. I mean, everyone can submit the workload with expensive cluster specifications to management cluster, right?
But I
Uh,
think sorry, go. I was gonna say, I think the purpose is so that he can manage like an external controller to handle the selection. And then on his end, I'm sure you can also control what users can set for like which child cluster. Like you don't want this to expose to users, right? Like you want this to be exposed to some operator on the manager side. Is that correct?
yeah, I think is that the idea is that if you don't want like a user to like uh submit to the expensive on-demand pool, I think in that case like the platform team should like avoid to do that. It should like just the user interface should just reject it.
Yeah.
Because I
So
think
this. Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, because I think in the same cases that I guess currently like if they have like different cluster, one is on demand and the one is like and maybe the other one is a spy instance. I guess they still have some like a label, and the user can still, if user can specify like a label, they can still schedule to on demand cluster. if the resource forever have the if the resource forever provides like the way to do that. Yeah, so I think there's like a no difference between like the current is like a user should still be able to schedule to on demand if they want. If user if we don't want to they to do that, I think it's the platform team idea to do that. We provide a way. So yeah, I'm not sure like do you get my point or not?
Yeah, so this is one of the example for extensive cluster. I mean, so exposing annotation-based selectors like node selectors and cluster selectors, which means we allow users to hijack our admission and selection mechanism. So as you know, in the current Q project, we don't expose such annotations even for node selections. You know, this is the same similar situations. So yeah, I can understand. So they want to select clusters based on data locations or checkpoint locations, whatever. Actually, so in some KubeCon, so we got very similar use cases. So they want to submit the job based on data location or whatever. So I want to consider about the alternative approach instead of this annotation approach, right? So basically, so I want to suggest the dispatcher mechanism, and so my request is what is the pain point when you implement the dispatcher API to satisfy your use case? And so we want to resolve the pain points and support this functionality via dispatcher mechanism.
Yeah, but I think it is pretty complex to like implement the like external dispatcher and I think is that if you can start a recording, I can share like my like closer PR about that. Yeah, so I think it's not maintainable. Yeah, so I have a external dispatcher. I try internally. Yeah, so but I think I cannot share the screen right now if it's recording.
Yeah. For sure. So you can organize your in-house dispatcher mechanism, and can you share if you can share the specifications for the extended dispatchers, you can open issue and what is recommendations to
Yeah.
improve dispatcher mechanism.
So do you mean like I implement the same way, but user implement the same API, but it's like the external dispatcher to implement the logic? Is that the way you suggested?
Yeah, my recommendation is the external dispatcher approach.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's actually pretty complex because this is something I tried.
Yeah, I know. So that because we don't have provide fine-grained framework or library mechanism for dispatcher API. So when you implement any kind of in-house dispatcher controllers, you should have all of complicated step-by-step mechanism in your in-house dispatcher. Yeah, I understand that. But for this annotation-based mechanism, it's very hard to accept at this time.
Oh, I'm still didn't get the idea. So I'm not sure why like annotation matters because I think in the same time user can still specify like a no selector, right? To like to decide like which cluster they want to send.
Yeah, but so
the issue is you're basically like think of in the scheduler, you're basically selecting the node name. And that's usually what we don't want. Like if this was more of like a cluster selector where like, you can maybe make it a little bit more fine grained so that it's possible to change. I think that's the main concern. But there is, it's kind of the same problem with like you wouldn't ask users to set the node name on a pod, and then they'll be surprised like if the node name goes away, or
Yeah,
like
exactly right.
I think this is not a node name. This is the cluster name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's same semantics. So the different point is just inside of cluster or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think like the issue is if clusters are ephemeral and like users won't, these workloads won't really be reproducible anymore. So that's probably the main issue with having the cluster name. And I mean, I think it's fine. Depends on like your environment if you're not like pulling down clusters or not. But that's kind of, I think, why in SIG scheduling we try to discourage people from setting node names and use something like a node selector to at least, well, basically no name bypasses a scheduler entirely. I don't know much about like the multi-queue scheduler, but it sounds like this would bypass the multi-queue semantics entirely.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's like but I think it's that the external dispatcher provides the same way. So I think it's just equivalent, but it's just like a change. Like I use like 1,000 of live code, and the Kubernetes implement inside multi-queue just maybe tens of the lines of code.
Yeah, and I mean, I think your main concern with the external dispatcher is probably just like maintaining a separate controller is heavy, and like you have to basically deploy, own it, and maintain it, and it's easier if it is like managed in queue, right? Is that kind of the? I mean, like
Yeah,
obviously there's the code, but yeah, it's the same thing with like mission controllers where I find it's hard to sell this to end users to create their own controller for this. Because like they're asking why pick Q if I have to write all this other code on top of it. But I know that's sort of the Kubernetes pattern we encourage. But
and and I'm wondering that just the um so currently the recommended way is like use the external dispatcher.
Yes.
I think maybe the other thing like we can try to do is that the current is that I think it should provide a way like for user to maybe to propagate like the maybe annotation on the CR to the workload. Because currently is that I need to if I implement the external dispatcher, I need to like watch the workload CR and associate with it as like the owner custom resource and then read the custom resource to retrieve the annotation. If I implement the external dispatcher, yeah. So I think if there is another way to like just propagate maybe the annotation from the job CR to the workload CR, I think it will be like easier to implement the external dispatcher.
Wait, sorry, Kevin, can you go back into so for node selector semantics, like let's ignore the annotation. So why is that one different? So like why is that an acceptable path? Like can he do the equivalent of whatever node selector does? I didn't quite follow that part.
I think
Oh,
it's more node name is it basically bypasses the scheduler entirely because the scheduler's goal is to find a node name, and when you put the node selector, you still go through the scheduling loop. And even if your node selector goes to like one node, that's better than setting the node name because it's also like the issue is if a node gets deleted and recreated, maybe the labels will still be like propagated to another node. So then you're not breaking users by like if they have a pod that sets a node name, it can only work if that node name exists on a cluster. And I worry about the same thing with cluster name, where if your clusters are dynamic, you hit this is also another issue where you basically can't guarantee that the people's workloads will keep running. Now, maybe that's fine for your use case, Kai, because you're saying the checkpoints are there, but I do see that as a bigger concern is like these workloads will only work if the cluster names exist. And if they don't, then I guess there's some UX issues we have to think about. Like, what do you do if that cluster doesn't exist at all?
Yeah, like can you just implement the same semantics of whatever node selector does? Like I think the issue is that it has to go through multi-queue, right? So that's what I'm wondering. Like basically it selects the cluster if it's there, if it's not, we have some semantic of like handling it. But it like does the same thing of like selecting the cluster.
And I think this should be like a user option. Yeah, is that yeah, honestly, I think it's like this is not make sense for me to like prevent user to do hardware scheduling they want to do, and especially is that we currently like we do a lot of orchestration via the agent. So agent just want to like schedule something. If it, I think the case is not similar. I think a node is pretty easy to scale up, scale down. So if we like hardcore the node name, I think it's different. But I think for a multi-queue, the worker cluster, maybe I think currently is that we just add a new cluster to the multi-queue. We haven't like deleted anyone and changed the name. So I think maybe this should be the different cases. And I believe that a lot of users will have this kind of the requirement. Yeah, because I think a lot of times that only the coder side can know where to like submit the workload to. Yeah, and
Yeah.
I definitely can implement the external dispatcher. Yeah, but it's I think actually it's like if you actually do that, you will see like how complex it is. It's like the thousands of line of code.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering. I mean, obviously, I don't think it probably sounds like drafting a KEP, maybe walking through like what you tried before. I don't know if you have a KEP. I see the PR, and I mean, your changes here look pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I think defining like the challenges you experienced on the external dispatcher, and then that will probably can start that
Yeah.
conversation a little bit more. Because like I do think there are some edge cases we should think through here. Uh, I mean, I do agree. Like I can understand that cluster creation is a much more involved step, and if you are, it takes like I've talked with people setting up AI clusters. It can take months to get them working. It's not like they're spawning them up in a day and then tearing them down, but it is the same problem with setting node names as like even a year later if someone's like people reuse workloads like they copy and paste and then they'll keep submitting it, and if this is a template that an agent starts to get a hold of, they'll just keep submitting there and then all of a sudden it will break. So I think even if it's not, clusters are ephemeral, I do imagine eventually like that use case of what happens if that cluster doesn't exist should be called out. uh, And I mean, basically, similar to what I think Amy called out the composable dispatcher. It feels like we're talking about like multi-cluster scheduling heuristics, and like
Yeah.
how do you pick the right cluster given certain constraints? And you have one use case where I have data locality, and I want to make sure my cluster goes there. And I mean, I'm like, I think if we do a KEP, I think it'll be clear. Maybe call out some of this, and then we can see. I Yeah, I think that's a good next step.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I
Bill,
abandoned this one. Sorry. But you can also take a look at this for inspiration if for your cap for like things you've considered as well. It's 10784. So this is the idea that you were saying of treating clusters like nodes, basically, and having like cluster affinity, soft and hard constraint semantics. Um, but yeah,
I think in our case is that just I think multi-queue don't have a way to aware of like which cluster it should send it to, and at the same time, if the cluster is down, the job is impossible to be like a successful run because the data is just in that cluster.
Yeah, I mean the problem also, well, checkpoint. I mean, At least for Kubernetes checkpointing, the checkpoints are node local too. Like, are you like don't you have to also make sure that it lands on the same node? Or is your
No, I
checkpoints
think it's in the object storage in that region, and
okay?
we don't want to have the egress fee, so we will only submit the job to that cluster. So I think for data locality, for data locality side, I think if it's like if it's done, it should not be reproducible.
Yeah, I think
So
that
no
was
matter like
also,
the
sorry, go ahead.
yeah, so no matter like the no matter how if the cluster is gone, so is it not reproducible? So I think the point like you made is I think it doesn't apply to the data locality side, and only the caller know like the which cluster has the maybe the we also replicate the checkpoint in which region, and only the caller side know that, and it's a user responsibility to relocate it. It's in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I like Kevin's idea of like let's move forward with a cap because it seems like we're kind of like we're at like a like endpoint of like we have to look at all the options, I think, over text. I think that would be good. And then yeah, I think for the composable dispatcher idea, um that one like I'll just give you some 2 cents for that. That one like it did have like the data locality thing in mind where it's like maybe you could have something like emit information about like where this workload should sort of land, but the reason I abandoned it is because it's a little bit far off, but maybe if it's directionally like the way that you think it should go, we can pick it back up again. Or yeah, like move forward with your some version of like your annotation idea. But yeah, if you could write a kep next, that would probably be the best option. Thank you so much for presenting.
So which PR which like you said composable.
Oh yeah, I linked it in the Zoom chat. Are you able to see that? 10784. It's very rough, but you can kind of just look at the top level summary thing. I don't know if I would put too much stock in the actual design, because things can change a lot given how much multi-queue has changed. But the main idea is like treating clusters like nodes and having affinity semantics and hard and soft constraints. Cool. Are you able to see the chat? Just want to make sure before I move on.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mesa, did you fix your audio?
I have the one last thing. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
want to say is that if we actually want to go with the external dispatcher way,
Yeah.
is it possible to pass like the maybe some like propagate some like the annotation from the job CR side to the workload CR side, so that we don't need to associate that in the external dispatcher. Just simplify the external dispatcher a bit.
Yuki?
Yeah, we can
Okay.
pass annotations through job or what or whatever. Just we don't want to allow them to pass cluster name throughout even job, even workload. We can pass multi-queue cluster scheduling constraints.
Okay.
Constraints. It's not cluster name. Constraint.
Okay. Thanks.
Cool. Mesa, are you able to?
Hello.
Yes, awesome. Okay, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh, that's great. Hello, everyone. So I've been taking a look at the wait for pods ready feature, and I'm trying to establish like some limits for it, like for minimum and maximum values. That makes sense, for example, for the timeout field, for the back of base, back of max. And if anyone has used this feature and could provide some feedback, that would be really awesome. Because I took a look at the documentation if there would be any aspects with regards to minimum and maximum values allowed, and I didn't see any. I saw that there is a default, but those other ones I didn't see. So if you guys can share this information, that would be great.
I think wait for pods ready. I previously seen 15 minutes, but honestly, it's like user dependent, right? Like it depends on how long it takes for your, like how long
Yeah.
you've historically seen
Yeah,
it takes
but
for pods to go running. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it really depends on each environment, right? But like as a general base, like if we could establish some limits, I think some sane limits, let's say, I think that would be really nice.
Yuki?
Yeah. So you actually it really depends on your cloud provider because some cloud provider provides capability to lazy image downloading, which can contribute to very faster image downloading or device attaching and volume attaching. In that case, you can specify 10 minutes or 5 minutes and to wait for port ready timeout. But if your cloud provider is just on-premise or more bare metal based cloud provider, you should specify 30 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever. Just recommendation.
Yeah, and I think we should say timeout. We have a pretty good idea on my understanding. I mean, like we probably like I think we just want to range like it probably doesn't make sense to have 1 second, but it also probably doesn't make sense to have 10 years. And so like we know there's a range that makes sense for timeout. Now, one of the ones that we're also struggling with is like the other ones that Mesa mentioned that I think are much harder for us to parse, like back off limit count, back off base seconds, and back off max seconds. And like we don't like we're trying to provide at least an API for users to configure this, but we don't really have a great idea of like what values people are actually setting for those, or is it just like the defaults mostly?
What are the last two again?
Sorry, Mesa, do you know what those are? If you could explain those more. The back off limit, back off base seconds, and back off max seconds. These are in the requeuing strategy, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. So the limit is the count of like the limit of how much the backoff until the backoff can be retried,
Yeah.
like it can retry 10 times. That will be the limit. The backoff max is the maximum amount of backoff timeout that it can wait for. So for example, it doesn't increase until infinity, like it will be when it reaches the backoff max, it will be, for example, like every 2 hours, if the backoff is 2 hours. And the base is the base of the exponential function.
Okay, so the base is like some sort of base rates of requeuing, and then the back off max is the total sum of requeuing time. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what I understand about it. Yeah.
Yeah. People for back off, I mostly see the first two being used. Wait for pods ready and back off limit count. So for limit counts, yeah, people are touchy about that, I feel like. But I can also come back and ask users like sort of what they set as those things. Because they do want it they do want it high. For instance, like let's say you have like a lower priority workload, or they do want it at different numbers, what I mean. So like let's say you have like a lower priority workload that's like often preempted. You want it to always like try requeuing, right? To fill up the capacity. And hopefully they have like a good checkpointing story. In terms of like where that is it like at like 2000? I don't think so, but I don't know where the lower limit is either, or the upper limit is, but I can ask.
That would be great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Great. I think next, do we want to talk about release planning? Does someone else want to share drive for that one? For the project board, I can also share if there's something that we wanted to like I think last time we left off at release planning. I don't know if there was like still loose ends that we still wanted to go over for that.
I think we still have a lot to do. I can
Yeah,
share
yeah.
if you want.
Cool. Yeah, I just don't want to drive for this one. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I need the big access to share.
Oh, right. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. So yeah, can you see the planning board?
Yeah. Do you want to sort by
Yeah.
status, by the way?
Sure.
I think descending maybe? Or you try both. Try ascending and descending. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, so what do we want to, are we saying initially discussed on planning? I forgot what we meant by that one. I'm assuming these are ones we want to at least commit to reviews in 0.20.
Yeah.
I started going through and closing a couple, like I know Uber cluster queues. I think that was kind of repurposed to something else. There was I think I think I might have closed that one just to make it clear which ones we're actually tracking. I think that's the configurable preemptions.
Uber cross queue is still currently we are planning, but approach was changed. Before we plan to introduce some field to cross queue, but so we decided to introduce such field to DQO, dynamic quota auto scale, but implementing in Uber cross queue in DQO
Yeah.
will be in 21 or 22 version. It's not this release cycle.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, I think that it's hard. It's gonna be hard to piece together what we review now versus what, like, even if it's 0.22, I imagine we're not gonna like not look at this until 0.22 cycle. So I think it's okay to have these in this board to reflect that we need to probably like talk about them. I like the same thing for like pod groups. Bring your own pod group support and some of the WAS work. I don't expect us to land this in 0.20, but I think we need to start thinking about it. But yeah, I think that. Sorry, what Amy? You brought this up. What items? How do we want to? I don't know how to
Oh
do this,
no,
but
I think because we had a smaller group that met, right? And it seemed like there was a lot of leftover stuff. So I just wanted to bring it up in case there were like other things that we wanted to organize on because people had different ideas of like how to uh like continue using this board. Do we also want to maybe add more statuses of like indicating like yes, like for instance for DQO, we can add another status of like not this release, but like, you know, still up for discussion kind of thing, and then which ones are for sure this release. So for instance, number 7, I think we can probably target for this release.
okay. So then, in scope,
Yeah, that's a good one.
uh, yeah, maybe the simplest one is I'm gonna switch to, because I think like we also have no, wrong one. We have the pinned one, and I think maybe we should see what keps or anything are related to our 20 plan.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have the QViz, like so like looking at this dynamic quota. I don't know what the corresponding keps for some of these are. I know that this is the one that I brought up, so let me. Should we take the stuff we're saying for 0.20, try to add it in scope, and then maybe try to prioritize reviews of those? Does that sound like a good plan?
I think that makes sense.
Okay. All right. So then I believe I have one. This one I think I mentioned, so I'm going to say in scope since it's in 0.20 of QViz I forgot what I meant by in progress. I'm going to just move this to in scope.
Yeah, I think let's just say now that in scope means upcoming release. And then initially discussed on planning means future release. Yeah.
Yeah, do we sorry, a lot of these I don't know. Any of these sound like ones we want for 0.20? Sticky cluster queue head policy. Yuki, I know you're working on that one.
Yeah, that is just reference documentations because we already implemented the sticky cluster queue head policy. We already have implementation, but we don't have cap. So I just opened that.
All right. Well, I think either way, we can merge that. We can aim to get this merged in 0.20. Yeah, we have a lot of caps. I don't know what most like. I wonder if maybe some of these, if they're
I
not.
think that as far as I know, the important cap is DQO and scale up cap. So I don't remember the exact cap name. So
Workload, yeah. Workload
no,
resize.
not workload resize. So we have partial scale up cap for ray job.
Okay.
Do you remember which number that was or like a keyword that we could search to make sure?
Yeah, let me check about that.
Like, yeah, I think it'd
Yeah,
be good to, yeah, go ahead.
14310.
Is it a PR or an issue?
Yeah, PL. Cap
Oh,
PL.
is it? Sorry, 1-4 what?
143310. Yeah,
Okay.
partial scale up for
Oh,
Elastic job.
nice.
All right.
I think this one and DQO is big cap and important cap.
Is DKO landing in 0.20? Or the caps
Yes.
specifically? Okay.
Yeah. So
Uh,
as far as I know, so basic DQO implementations will be landed in this release cycle. For local class, local node usage aggregations. In the next 0.21 or 22, we will start to expand this DQO to multi-queue or whatever.
Yeah.
We want.
Also, is selective preemption in here? That one, I think we all
Which one?
selective preemption, or the proposal that Daniel and
It's a
Martin.
configurable preemptions.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
that's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
configurable preemption. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it here. I do not know how the board is created from the caps.
You add a label area. Let's see. Basically, all you need, it should be, I think it's automated. Add a label kind/kep, and then it should come up with the board.
That.
All right. Do you know what number it is? Maybe it's.
Give me a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and so as far as I know, configurable preemption will not be implemented in this release cycle. We just try to refactor the current queue schedule mechanism for the configurable preemption in this release cycle. And in the next 0.21 release cycle, we start to implement functionality, actual functionality for configurable preemptions.
14554.
Sorry. 154.
Oh, sorry. No. Yeah.
It is in chat. Maybe it's easier to just copy.
Yes.
14554. Yeah.
I don't see it. Okay. Let me take a look and see. Let me go to the cap.
You can, if you go to the bottom, if you hit the plus button. Yeah, there you go. Hit the plus button, yeah, and then yeah.
Okay, it's this one. All right. And I'll do, sorry, is strategically important, but we're saying, I guess,
Here's the cap will be merged.
all right, in scope. Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's in scope. Yeah.
All right. And then I do have one that Mesa's working on for the adding a timeout for wait for pods ready that I like. I think we talked about that one already.
Yeah, I think it's
Not
the
that-
first one in the list.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I'm gonna move this to in scope then. I'd like to get some review. I think it's pretty close to being reviewed. There's like a few items left, but this is adding a timeout at the workload level so users can override the cluster setup for it. And yeah, I mean, everyone's free to, I guess, propose the ones they want. I know the guaranteed minimum runtime, that's been up for a while. I don't know if we're making progress. I'm going to mark this one as strategically important. I don't know if we'll get to it, but I think WAS will be talking a lot about in the future. Automatic cluster queue quotas. Are we still doing that?
I think this still working?
I think the idea here was to have the dequeue as
Yeah.
main mechanism description, and then have like a small follow-up caps how for example, the local node-based quota will be implemented. Yeah.
Okay, so
it
I'm
will be
gonna
repurposed
close
probably.
this then.
Yeah, we actually don't plan to support this feature because as Daniel mentioned, so we support same functionality in DQ.
So I'll say this work is being folded into DKO.
Thanks.
This is a use case for that feature. Okay. Yeah, this is all useful. Feel like we should start being a little bit aggressive on some of these whips. Because like I don't know for some of these if we
Don't
are
close them. I do want to keep them.
okay. Well,
Now I'm
if
getting
there's
like head count. Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, obviously you can close and always reopen. It's more of like, yeah, I'm just not sure which ones.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot here. Also, I need to figure out how to remove done.
Yeah, and so as I mentioned in the private meeting, so I raised two caps, but so I didn't open two caps yet, so I will open in this week or next week.
Nice. Oh, Kevin, you could hit archive for the done ones. So go to the left and you see the drop down. Yeah, there you go. Did that work? Nice.
Yeah. Perfect.
Kai-san?
Oh, yeah, hi. Thanks. I'm wondering, like, is this possible to like put the auto scaling one that I proposed like the last week, to this release?
Do
What
you
is
have
the
the link? Yeah, sorry, go on, Amy.
Yeah,
Oh no, what yeah, the
there's
number.
auto scaling. I think it's let me check.
You
Let me
link it. If you send it to chat, I can copy and paste and look for it.
Okay, give me a second. Where is it? Oh, 1 second. Yeah, this one, the 13494.
Okay. I almost got it. Multi-queue worker side, Ray entry auto scaling.
Yeah.
All right, it's in scope. What about, I see I'm assigned on quota release strategy. Oh yeah, this
Yeah,
is
I
very
guess
simple.
it's very close to March.
What is this one again?
I think this
Quota
is
release
removing.
strategy.
I think it's removing quota on termination, right?
Yeah, it's similar to job termination policy. No, not termination, failure policy. Like so, currently, so we could release the quota once the job has deletion timestamp. It's similar to fast quota release, but we want to introduce strict quota release semantics, which is part of a quota release strategy cap.
Okay, I'll take a look. All right, let's look at what we have in scope and also strategically important now. I just want to see what our release sort of looks like.
So maybe the question, I don't know what we decided initially discussed on planning is, I actually would like us, I'm going to move this one in scope, or at least, this is at least having WAS related work with the batch job, given the integration. I think this is definitely very close. And when 1.37 is out, we could at least have, like, yeah, I think this one is very close. Yeah, I don't know. Initially discussed on planning, I'm fine leaving. I'm not sure about. Like we can talk about in WAS meeting. I don't know what our plan is for pod groups and WAS support.
Oh, number 3 should be in scope. I'm gonna like look at that this weekend. Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah. So I'm just gonna I'll move it to strategically important. And then unscheduled pod timeout design. Yuki, I see
Yeah,
that you have it assigned. Do you want me to move this in scope?
yeah. I actually currently reviewing this cap and ref to some comments, and the contributor is working on both implementation and the caps.
Okay.
Cool.
Let's
So
look at
there's a lot in scope. I know it's like best effort, right? What's
Yeah,
like usually
it's
the
best effort.
review? Yeah, like what's the likelihood of like how many of these will get in? Maybe in the future, like we don't have to do this today. Just like as we're figuring out our like release planning flow, we should start ranking things so that people can gauge like the likelihood of things being reviewed. Um, or
Yeah,
like, yeah, having distinct assignees or something like that. Because it's like if everything's important, nothing's important. So yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I think the assignees are more. I don't. It's always hard with priority because everybody's like.
Yeah,
I like the idea of assignees and figuring out like reviewers and owners, and then like we just
yeah,
try to get through those.
yeah,
Yeah, like round robin that one because yeah.
yeah. And then obviously for like the big ones, for if everyone wants to like, it's tricky because it's like we need to like be able to figure out how to delegate, right? Where it's like I'm sure there's some where it's like, oh, we all want to like have a say in it, but let's figure out, yeah, like a subset of these, which ones we can just delegate to like a single assignee. Um,
Yeah, even
cool.
if we can delegate assignee to someone, so two approvers should review the cap from different companies. So it's a very hard point because currently how many scope caps we have. So
I mean, so it's like if a reviewer has taken a pass, it's like one level, and then you can have like one approver after that from like a different company than the reviewer to take the final pass or something. But yeah, we can probably like figure out more formally later.
yeah, but we actually so discuss about that. So as a result, the requirement is two approvers from two companies, right? So
Okay.
yeah, if Mihao Wozniak takes caps, in that case, another company, me or Sohan should take the approval role in the cap.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, I'm fine with that. I guess I also I'd like to help out review some of these caps, and I think Amy would too. Like I think it would be nice. I mean, we can review and get them in a state for the approvers, which just sounds like it's basically what reviewers do. Like we can
Yeah.
get most of the questions out, and then the approvers, I guess, do their final sign off or review. But yeah, my hope is that we can reviewers, at least for Kubernetes, they do a lot of the work, making sure it gets working, and then the approvers can kind of come in and make sure there's nothing glaring. And a lot of times that works out pretty well. I'd like to have that for at least some of the keps, and that's what I'm trying to do on the ones that I get assigned to is iterate more on that one, and then I can assign it to the queue maintainers once it's ready, once I think it's ready.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds very helpful. Yep.
Yeah. It's also like if you think about, especially like Mihaw's like review volume, it's like even he's like one third of it, right? But if we're doing 2 out of 3, then it's like, yeah, like 2 out of every 3 needs to be pinned at like Mihao, right? So you want him like it would be cool to reduce it down to like 1 out of 3, but it's fine.
But yeah, if anyone, please take a look at your caps. We're, I guess, at time.
Yeah.
Just feel free. I mean, if there are any here, also please close out ones that you are not actually that you don't think you're going to get to. You can always reopen them. But yeah, let's try and I think clean up our PR board.
Cool. We're formalizing release, sort of. That's exciting. All right. Awesome. Thank you for everyone's time. And yeah, like hopefully the weekly Q meetings are helpful. It seems like we fill up all of them. So see you guys next week for a working group batch, right? That's the more generalized meeting. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone.
See you.
Bye.